Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace, the mercy and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon you all. Today we're going to move on to posture. And within posture we're going to look at two things. We're going to look at how you stand up. And when you stand up, how you use your hands. And the second thing we're going to look at, the second posture, is going to be the ruku position, where you go into the bowing position. So these are the two postures which we're going to learn today, inshallah. Now, what we done last week is we started off by bringing awareness to our breath, and we also brought awareness to our prayer itself. And then after we had our breath in control, what we did is we practiced reciting a few of the du'as. Yeah, so we practiced Allahu Akbar, Subhana Rabbiyal Azim, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. And we used our breath in all of those scenarios. So now what we're going to do this week is we're going to move that forward into our posture. Now the first posture which we're going to look at is standing up. So as you can see, I'm standing up today and I'm wearing different clothes because we're going to have to notice a few things about the body. But just to start off with, in terms of standing up, now make sure you're standing up straight. So one of the first things that might happen for a lot of you is your shoulders might go back a little bit. Yeah, and you might feel the weight of your body a little bit more. Okay, good. The first thing I want you to do is to breathe, as always. So this time we're going to be standing up and we're going to be breathing standing up. So just notice what happens when you breathe. Good. And notice how, the biggest thing I want you to really notice right now is how much does your posture and the way that you hold your shoulders and the way that you hold your head and the place that the weight of your body is, how does that affect the way that you breathe? Good. Okay. Now, I just want you to think about how many parts of your body are now involved in the breathing process. How far does your breath actually go when you just focus on your breathing while you're standing up and just relaxed? Okay, good. That's important. Now, one thing which I want to happen here is I want your belly to come out when you breathe. Yeah, so you breathe in through your nose, and when you're doing that you should feel your belly come forward a little bit, and that means you're doing it right. So if you're standing up and you put your hand on your belly, when you breathe in it should come out, it should expand, and when you breathe out it should just come back in a little bit. So that's something which is much easier to notice when we're standing up. Okay, very good. So when it comes to the posture of standing up for prayer, one thing, again, I want you to try and keep that in mind, what you just learned, is that you keep shoulders back, stand up straight, and what I want you to do with your knees, I'm not going to show you, but I just want you to try bending your knees a little bit. Now, very often when you stand straight, we lock the knees for some reason. I'm not sure why people do that. But just try and bend the knees a little bit, and realize that you don't have to be tensing the legs or tensing the knees. You can actually just be slightly bending the knees, and that's very good for your standing position, just a slight bend in your knees. Okay, good. And just bring your attention back to your breath, and just notice what's going on with your standing. So this is just the qiyam position, just standing up straight. So what you notice is that you might actually stand a bit straighter without so much without being all hunched over. So you might be more straight, and you'll notice that there'll be a bit of a bend in your knees now, hopefully, and hopefully that feels a bit more natural for you as well. And again, just feel the weight on your feet. Like, actually realize that your whole body is resting on your feet. Feel the weight in your heels, if you can. And that will obviously help with your weight and your balance. So you shouldn't be like, so now a lot of people sometimes when they start praying they start all swaying and stuff, but you really don't need to. You should feel comfortable just standing straight. Okay, that's good. So now you've kind of managed to stand up. I'm just going to tell you about your hands. Yeah, so when you're praying, when we raise our hands at the beginning to start the prayer, our hands, they face the Qibla. Yeah, our hands face the Qibla, and we just bring our hands up. So just start with your hands down by your sides, and just bring them up face them towards the Qibla and see how you can comfortably bring them up. Yeah, so just standing with your hands by your sides, just seeing how you can comfortably bring them up. And where do they come to? Where does that happen? And just about there is where you want to rest them for your starting position. So if you remember to breathe, and this is where we'll say Allahu Akbar, and then we'll join our hands. Now what we'll do is I'm just going to bring the camera a little bit down, and we're going to notice what happens with the hands. So you go Allah, and then you bring the hands, left hand onto your navel and the right hand on top, something like that, just clasping those. And just seeing how that feels, feeling comfortable, remembering to bend your knees as well. And try and have that as your standing position. Be aware of it, so your shoulders you're not hunched over, you're not tense in your knees, so your knees are bouncy and your shoulders are back and the weight's on your feet. Okay, so that's just with the standing up. And also just remember the hands as well towards Qibla, and practice these postures. So obviously you might know this from before, but practice them with awareness. That's really, really important. And I'm just going to go into the ruku now. So with the ruku, it's very simple. Just the main thing I want you to keep in mind when you're going into ruku is I want you to just kind of so I'll stand facing towards you. What I want you to do is I want you, instead of like going straight to your knees, is going into the ruku position without putting your hands, without touching your hands on your legs. This is going down and getting into the full ruku position, straightening your back, but your hands aren't at that moment kind of clinging onto your knees. So you don't put your hands on your knees straight away. Yeah. So what you do actually do is you simply put your hands in front of your knees and just straighten your back, so you go into the ruku position. And then just once you're comfortable in your ruku position, just place your hands on your knees. So you're not leaning onto your hands. You're just using your hands as a little bit of support. And that's quite an important part of the ruku, because sometimes we just kind of fall into ruku. So what this will do is it'll make sure you keep control of your weight the whole way down, so you're not kind of falling in. So that's really, really important. And you can practice that a couple of times as well. And now I'm just going to go through it with the du'as a little bit. So we'll say, remember to breathe as well. Allahu Akbar. Good. So with the breath. And then if we went into ruku, the ruku would be, again we just come down and Allahu Akbar. And what I want you to really try is actually breathing in ruku. So go into ruku and breathe. Subhana Rabbiyal Azim. Subhana Rabbiyal Azim. And then you come out of ruku and back into the standing position for Sami Allahu liman hamida. So that's actually an integration of the Allahu Akbar and the actual position. So what I want you to do is just bring special focus towards the little section which we've practiced today. And these, as I've said before, will become your anchor points. So these will be where you'll actually be able to really connect to Allah really easily in these few moments. So like really be proud of these little moments that you're having, and be aware that you as a being, as a spirit, you have every right to be connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's important that you just try, and what I've told you to do over the past few days is that you try and take some notes. So now you've probably got some answers to how you pray, what you think about, what you daydream about. And now hopefully you've got some notes to make about what does it feel like to say Allahu Akbar with your breath and with awareness of your body. What does it feel like to go into ruku properly and controlling your weight on your way down? What does it feel like just to stand up properly? And going deeper into this and understanding your own journey in terms of your spirituality will really help. So hope you enjoyed your lesson, and I'll see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.